our people. Because we know what Museveni is doing is to abduct people daily, beat people on the streets, and they scare people from coming even to vote for their candidates.
Right.
So how can we as Ugandans be more emboldened
Thank
to
you.
be able to face the dictators like we have seen in other countries?
Absolutely. Thank you, Doctor. That questions in most cases comes off as a pessimistic question, but it's a question that needs to be addressed in the affirmative. My view is we shouldn't just be asking what should we do different. I think, and I believe you mentioned it. What can we do more? I want you to know that what we are doing things right. We just need to continue and not give up. The Baganda say, Adingana mauru yagajamu omukuto. In English, I would say persistence breaks resistance. We are doing everything right. If only we do not stop. Only if we don't stop. Because if we have brought the dictatorship to a point of fearing a color, of fearing overalls, to the extent that they are in parliament trying to legislate against an overall, a red overall, not knowing that they can spend a lot of taxpayers' money legislating against a red overall, and tomorrow we come up with a white one, or a blue one, or a yellow one. We just need not to give up. I want to remind all of us, comrades, that everything is on our side. Besides the law, besides morality being on our side, besides the people being on our side, time is on our side. We are fighting with a guy who is way in his 80s and is waning, and even those that feed from his hands know that we are the ones that are moral and right. So all we need to do is not to give up. We are non-violent, at least so far, at least for us. And you know that non-violence is much more powerful than violence. That they are trying as much as possible to push us to the violent line so they can deal with us violently. Even when we don't be violent, they are trying to at least try to paint us as a violent group so they can be able to deal with us violently and crush us. We all know that, I mean, this military discipline. That's why some of us who were scouts are disciplined. That is why we always stand in the soldier formation as a display of discipline. But you saw recently that they want to term us as a rebel group because we march in a formation, in a disciplined manner, like scouts, like Christians, like students, like all groups. So the regime fears disciplined people. We should continue being disciplined. They fear thoughtful people. We should continue being thoughtful. They fear organized people. So we should continue being organized. In a nutshell, we should continue doing what you're doing, what we are doing, but do it in a much, even a much organized way and a much more moral way. We are doing things right. What we just need to do is continue doing them, continue the speed, multiply our efforts, and not give up. As I conclude that question, I must mention that there's some old gentleman that I met and gave me very, very important advice. Said, you people, you must know that besides being on the right track and on the right course, time is on your side. You should wear out the dictator. So what we have to do is wear out the dictator. Let's keep going. He will drop off. The guy will drop dead. Let us just continue going. We don't give up, knowing that it is not like Comrade Kaum has mentioned. This is not a sprint. It is a marathon. And we will have to outrun the dictator, which we are clearly doing. When you look at the next generation, they believe in the moral cause that we have. We have a just cause and we have the people on our side. Let us just keep doing more, not different, but more and more and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And my last question is regarding, in reflection to what's going on with Kawempe North. We saw the level of excitement within the struggle, and the number of candidates who came to vie for that position at the Secretariat was exciting. What message do you have for the general Ugandan people in the struggle to make sure that we compete across the board, not just in the central region? I think there's been a perception that there's a lot of competition for positions that are now, not saying that people just want to be in positions, but we want people to step up for leadership positions.
Yeah.
But how can we mobilize to the level that there's interest for NUP and the struggle in general to compete across Uganda? Because we have had NRM, of course, through their gerrymandering, they have created so many MP positions. There are so many positions, even in the local government across the country. How are we prepared for 2026? Because it's here. We have to live with that reality to make sure that our people in the struggle are motivated to compete across the board, not just in the central region.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kauma. Again, allow me to use this opportunity to debunk the narrative that the NUP is only in the central or is only strong in the central. Because NUP is not just NUP. NUP is change, and everywhere people want change. There's a reason why the regime abducts people and tortures people so much in Western Uganda, because they don't want to be demystified. But in reality, we are just as big in Western Uganda as we are in Eastern Uganda. Of course, in the central, being that because of the proximity and the language and the ability for the information to move fast, the central region and most urbanized places are all covered with NUP. We have been encouraging, and I'm very glad that there's been massive response from leaders from across the country to join and run on the National Unity Platform ticket. That we continue to do. Of course, we do that amidst challenges and hardships, knowing that in northern Uganda, the regime makes it close to impossible for us to go and meet those people there, because as soon as we go there, it is massive. You've seen us from Yumbe to Karamoja to Teso to Kasese, all across the country. What we need to continue doing is encouraging our people to be bold and stand with the National Unity Platform. There's also been an effort to send out an intimidating message to leaders, prospective leaders, that if you run on the NUP ticket, even if you win, you will not be announced winner. So many people come to us and they are our members, or they would like to run on the NUP ticket, but they are worried that if they run on an NUP ticket, then they will be very clearly targeted, and even when they win massively, they won't be declared. Just like it was in 2021. So many people in Western Uganda, in Northern Uganda, in Eastern Uganda were not declared, just like it was the case with Nakwede. Why? Because they wanted to send an intimidating message to deter them from associating with NUP, to the extent that some leaders actually, who are even friends to some of us, did not run on our ticket, even when they believe that the values that we stand for are the values that they share. So we are fighting back against propaganda. We are fighting back against state-inspired violence, especially that intended to block us from reaching far and wide beyond the central region.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Because today is Women's Day, I'm going to give Sarah, our co-host, a chance to ask a question, and also if there are any other brief questions we can get from the chat to raise those questions. And then, Mr. Marvin, I'll hand over to you. I don't know how much time we have with the president to see if we can get a few individuals to ask questions, and then we can wrap up the session. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you so much, comrades, and thank you so much, Mr. President. We have quite a few questions. Some of them are repeat questions, but my personal question, which has always been discussed on this space.
Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So one of the questions
I think so. She's unmuted, but I can't hear her.
We can hear her, Doctor.